C's pick up Svi Mykhailiuk, formerly of Kansas, and of course the Knicks last year, the Hornets last year. Pick him up for a year. See how this goes. And I'll be honest with you, Jack. Like, I'm not. And I said this on Twitter and I'm not like here to say that I'm the biggest Svi Mykhailiuk fan. I'm not sitting over here grinding Svi Mykhailiuk tape. I'm just not. It's not like on my agenda of things to do. I know who the player is. I'm aware of what his skills are and what his skills aren't. And it seems like to me the Celtics are once again kind of leaning into that three-point shooting, trying to space the floor, trying to spread everybody out, and they get a guy who's proficient at that particular spot. Can play a little bit of three, a little bit of four. But it's another weapon to kind of give the Celtics more space in the paint, so to speak. And like, look, again, I'm not the biggest expert on it, but if you look at people that follow the Charlotte Hornets specifically, not just the Knicks, but more importantly the Hornets, like this is a guy that kind of came on last year and was actually not a bad player, and it was a good shooter, but also was a good like secondary playmaker, and that kind of stuff sort of intrigues me. And as we get ready for the season, and you look at the way the Celtics are going to have to stagger their lineups, like I think Svi could be a nice addition. But in the back of my head, Jack, have Mike Muscala sitting back there thinking about all the stuff that we said to pump ourselves up about Mike Muscala, and nothing came of that. So is this more of like in your opinion, are we talking more of like this is a, end of the rotation move but an impactful piece, or is this like Mike Muscala in 2023, 2024?
It's weird because like you, I haven't watched Svi Mykhailiuk highlights. Like when it came out, it was like the smallest crumb of content that we could get in this dead season. So we reacted to like some of his plays with the Hornets for a video for How About Them Celtics, and he can like handle the ball a little bit. Obviously, he shot well. I think he played 19 games for the Hornets. He shot like 40% from three and shot almost 5 a game. So like, dude can shoot, obviously. But you look at the Celtics lineup right now. And heading into the summer, it's like, okay, maybe you get an extra wing to back up Tatum and Brown. Now you have Hauser, and you have Brissett, and you have Mykhailiuk, and you have Jordan Wall. So it's like there's only so many minutes for these guys behind Tatum and Brown because those guys are going to play 30, 35 minutes a night. And then you have Porzingis coming in. He's going to play some 4. Al Horford and Rob are obviously going to get their minutes. And then you have Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon. There's maybe one consistent roster spot left that's going to play even close to 20 minutes a night. Does that go to Peyton Pritchard? Does that go to Sam Hauser? Do they try out some Jordan Walsh? Like, there are so many guys in front of Svi Mykhailiuk. I think he has the talent to play. But I'm like more confused why they went, because it seems like this was probably their, we heard Lamar Stevens, TJ Warren, this big group of wings they brought to Boston to work out. Are you going to sign now another wing, or was Svi Mykhailiuk the guy you chose over the Lamar Stevens? And if that's the case, I'm confused why you went with let's get a Sam Hauser replica instead of a guy who can play defense a little bit opposite. So it just seems like, I guess you can never have enough shooting, but if Sam Hauser's healthy, why are we playing Svi Mykhailiuk? That's the way I see it. I think they're both great, and I think he's like a nice, like, what's the word? The fantasy football term. Insurance option, handcuff option, or whatever you want to call it. Like if Sam Hauser gets hurt or goes cold for a certain period of time, you have Svi Mykhailiuk, but it just seems like redundant to have all these wings who do the same thing, which is just shoot the ball. But he can handle it a little bit, which is fine. It's just I feel like he's going to get buried and might spend some time in Maine rather than play.
Well, we'll see with that. I agree with the Hauser point of like, if you're going to try and really play Sam Hauser this year, which was up and down last year, why are you bringing in a guy that seems like a duplicate? Well, they clearly think they need a spot of someone that can do stuff like that consistently, and maybe this is a way to push Sam Hauser a little bit. And that's why I didn't want the C's to really look at Lamar Stevens so much. And again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm grinding Lamar Stevens tape. Like this is like that's for someone who watches the Cavs. It's not for someone like me. I look to them to tell me how to feel about this. But again, if you look at Lamar Stevens over his course of his career, he was I believe he is Penn State's all-time leading scorer in school history. So he can clearly fill it up a little bit, but he comes from the Big Ten. Those guys play defense. His defensive prowess is what he's quote unquote known for in the NBA. But I was someone who was like, if you just drafted Jordan Walsh and he did what he did in Summer League, and now it's only Summer League, but if he did what he did and showed out that he was not just a defensive guy, he could play a little bit on the offensive end and really do some interesting things. Like I wouldn't want to take minutes away from that guy. So I was kind of anti-Lamar Stevens because I didn't want Jordan Walsh's development to take a backseat to a guy that can play right now. And I think it's very similar here with Svi and with Hauser. It's like, look, man, like Hauser's kind of like already the guy that's there. But at the same time, to your credit, to your point, we are in the 2023-2024 basketball. There is no such thing in this league as too much shooting. Like the more guys you can roll out to space the floor, the harder you are to guard, the easier it is for Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Derek White and even a guy like Porzingis to feast on the inside. And as we've talked about ad nauseum, you, me, everybody else that's covered this team, the more like Jason Tatum goes to the free throw line, the better off this team's going to be. And if the lane is open, more opportunities for him to get to the basket. And even a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, a guy like Derek White, a guy like Jaylen Brown, either more free throws or more looks at the cup. And that's always going to be a positive thing.
New FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV.
I thought it was weird they were going for a wing in general, because like you said, they have Jordan Walsh. You don't really need a Lamar Stevens. You have Sam Hauser. Do you really need another shooter? You even brought O'Shea Brissett, who can play some 3 and 4. And then you have a trio of bigs who are either injury prone, or 37 years old. And then you have Luke Cornett behind them and nothing else. And you can say, oh, well, Blake Griffin, if he comes back, well, even if he does come back, you could have an extra big just because Blake Griffin is also older. And if he doesn't come back, then you're left with Luke Cornett minutes, which I like Luke Cornett. I'm a Luke Cornett fan. But having an extra big who can bring you something else feels like a little more important than another wing at this point. Even another guard, in case, the Malcolm Brogdon situation is a little weird. I don't really know what's going on, if he's happy, if he's still upset that they tried to trade him. Peyton Pritchard, too, if he doesn't get a consistent role, he wanted to be traded last season. So if he doesn't play this year, he probably doesn't want to be here anymore if he's not going to be playing. So it just seems like a wing should have been lower on the priority list, but I'm not Brad Stevens for a reason. So I
think wing depth in general, I think is something that Boston and a lot of other teams focus on, because there's not a lot of good ones in the NBA. And if you can get a couple of good ones, it makes life easier. I do think they want to take minutes off Tatum and Brown, and obviously not nearly the same role, right? Like Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Svi Mykhailiuk, they play way different, okay? But it is a little bit of depth to give them a blow a little bit. I do think they're conscious of that. That's why, I think they brought Porzingis in, because a few things. But one, they know they can't rely on Al Horford to be the guy in the playoffs as he was last year, where he had no legs when they hit the Miami series. I just don't think it's something that's really feasible. So I think what they're trying to do is, we got to have more bodies to replace Tatum and Brown so they don't play 40 minutes a bunch of nights this year. I think they want to avoid that. I think that's really smart. And again, we're in this era of trying to, minimize regular season impact on legs. And again, these two guys are 26 and 25. It's not like they're super old or anything. But at the same time, the more you do now, the better off you're going to be. And again, this is a team that relied a lot on three-point shooting last year, to a lot of people's chagrins. I think a lot of people were upset about how many threes the C's took. I would put myself in that group of this is too many. Let's get something towards the basket. Let's get a layup or a jump shot in the mid-range. Again, that's where basketball's kind of headed. But at the same time, again, more space, more driving lanes, because this team loves to drive and kick more than I think almost any other team in basketball. They love the drive and kick game. And how many times on a broadcast, Jack, did you hear Scal go, drive and kick, penetrate one more time, kick it back out, rotate it around, and get a good shot? That seems like the bread and butter of their offense.
It's Missoula ball, baby. Joe Missoula is ready to shoot as many threes as he wants to shoot. I had less of a problem with the threes that Derek White was taking, Al Horford was taking, and more a problem with the let me dribble, step back at 3 with 18 seconds on the shot clock. I'm Jason Tatum, I'm Jaylen Brown, which usually is fine. Jason Tatum historically is a pretty good 3-point shooter on pull-ups, but last year his percentage just took a massive dip. And so when he's taking these, pull-ups with ample time in the shot clock, it really muddles the offense, lets other teams get out in transition. So I think if you cut back on those a little bit, get Tatum to the hoop more. I know Sam, who I host How About Themselves with, he's big on, get Tatum some post reps, get him in there. He's 6'9", right? He's stronger every year. Get him down there, get him playing a little bully ball, at least against smaller defenders. But I don't know. It's gonna be interesting to me to see how many threes they take this year. You can't imagine they take too many more. I would assume it's either gonna stay same or maybe they take a couple less, because they're playing less drive and kick, but because we see hopefully less of Jason Tatum, ISO, Jaylen Brown, ISO, where they just pull up, which those are the threes that I have a problem with mainly.
New FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Plus, all customers who bet $5 will get $100 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube at YouTube TV.